According to a detailed report from NFL Media's Ian Rappaport, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not expected to fire longtime head coach Mike Tomlin at the end of the 2025 season, despite the growing frustration circulating throughout the fan base and the heightened media scrutiny that has intensified as the team has stumbled to a 6-6 record heading into a crucial Week 14 divisional matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. Rappaport, who has been one of the most reliable insiders regarding organizational intentions across the NFL, emphasized that the Steelers' leadership remains committed to their long-standing philosophy of stability, continuity, and coaching consistency, a philosophy that has defined the franchise for decades and has separated it from the frequent turnover and volatility seen across much of the league. Rappaport revealed that if Tomlin ultimately does not coach the Steelers in 2026, it would most likely be because Tomlin himself chooses to step away, take a break, or reassess his career trajectory, rather than because of a forced administrative decision by ownership or the front office. This dynamic illustrates the trust and autonomy Tomlin has earned throughout his nearly 2 decades as the Steelers' head coach. It reflects the franchise's historically cautious approach to making abrupt leadership changes, even during periods of stagnation or unmet expectations. Additionally, Rappaport clarified that it does not appear likely that the Steelers will explore trading Tomlin to another team, even though coach for draft pick trades have occurred sporadically in NFL history. The idea has surfaced in public discussions, especially among fans eager for a fresh start, but Rappaport states that such a scenario is improbable for 2 significant reasons. First, coaching trades rarely materialize due to the complexity of compensation, contract adjustments, and organizational alignment required. Second, and more definitively, Tomlin's current contract contains a no-trade clause, meaning he would have to personally consent to any such transaction. Given Tomlin's deep roots in Pittsburgh and his appreciation for stability, the likelihood of him approving such a move is minimal. Should Tomlin decide to step aside in 2026, one potential path, described by Rappaport as the most plausible, would be for him to take a year off from coaching entirely and transition temporarily into football media work. This would mirror the journey taken by current Denver Broncos head coach Sean Payton, who stepped away from the New Orleans Saints following the 2021 season. Payton spent a year working as an analyst with Fox Sports before ultimately returning to the NFL sidelines. Many around the league believe that if Tomlin chose such a route, he would be a highly coveted media personality and a compelling addition to any national broadcast team due to his charisma, communication skills, and insight into organizational leadership. In that scenario, Rappaport adds that if the Steelers hired a new head coach for the 2026 season, they would be entitled to draft pick compensation should Tomlin eventually accept a coaching position elsewhere. This clause is similar to procedural mechanisms used in several recent coaching departures where teams sought to preserve long-term value even after parting ways with high-profile head coaches. For Pittsburgh, it would help safeguard the franchise's interests if Tomlin returned to the NFL as a head coach after his hypothetical sabbatical. Rappaport also notes that the Steelers are highly likely to pick up the option for Tomlin's 2027 contract year in an effort to avoid placing him in a lame duck situation for the 2026 season. Pittsburgh has long avoided such circumstances because they undermine stability, weaken internal authority, and create distractions both for the locker room and the broader organizational structure. Ensuring contractual security for Tomlin, even amid questions about his future, is emblematic of the Rooney family's leadership style: patient, supportive, strategic, and grounded in long-term planning rather than impulsive reactions. The Steelers signed Tomlin to a 3-year contract extension in June 2024, reaffirming their commitment to him as the franchise's foundational leader. Despite being the NFL's longest-tenured head coach, Tomlin has faced mounting criticism due to a frustrating trend of 5 consecutive one-and-done playoff appearances. The lack of postseason success has been a sensitive subject within the organization and a major point of contention among fans. Many supporters believe the Steelers have hovered in a perpetual state of mediocrity, consistently competitive but rarely elite, and their impatience has grown louder during the 2025 season as the team has failed to establish rhythm, identity, or consistency on both sides of the ball. At 6-6, Pittsburgh's current record reflects a broader pattern of stagnation, flashes of potential followed by abrupt regressions, inconsistencies in game planning, offensive struggles, and defensive lapses at critical moments. The frustration reached a boiling point during the Week 13 loss to the Buffalo Bills, where fans inside Acrisure Stadium loudly chanted for Tomlin to be fired. Public figures have also joined the chorus of criticism, including former Steelers franchise quarterback Ben Roethlisberger and former All-Pro linebacker James Harrison. Both have suggested on their respective platforms that the team might benefit from a fresh direction or philosophical reset, comments that carried significant weight due to their long and successful histories playing under Tomlin. However, Steelers owner Art Rooney too has remained publicly supportive of Tomlin. Speaking to the media last January, Rooney defended his head coach's body of work and reaffirmed his belief in Tomlin's leadership traits. "When you look at how many games Mike has won in this league, you don't win that many games if you're not a good coach," Rooney said, via Brooke Pryor of ESPN. "And I know he's frustrated like we all are in terms of not being able to take that next step, but we still feel good about him being the leader and still think he has the strengths that he always had in terms of being able to lead a team. The other side of the coin is when you look at the fact that we have 6, 7, 8 teams a year that turn their coaches over. When you have a good coach, you just try to keep building with them." That perspective reflects the fundamental identity of the Steelers franchise. Since 1969, Pittsburgh has hired only 3 head coaches, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin, a remarkable statistic in a league famous for rapid coaching turnover. The Steelers see stability as a competitive advantage, a core element of their organizational culture. They believe consistency cultivates development, maintains locker room trust, and prevents the cyclical failures many franchises experience when they change leadership too frequently. Tomlin, now 52 years old, was hired in 2007 at just 34, becoming one of the youngest head coaches in league history. In only his second season, he led Pittsburgh to a victory in Super Bowl 43, securing his place in franchise lore. Throughout his tenure, Tomlin has distinguished himself by never once having a losing season, an unprecedented achievement in the modern NFL, where parity, injuries, and schedule strength often make consecutive winning seasons extremely difficult to maintain. Over Tomlin's 18-year career, he has amassed a 189-113-2 record, good for a .625 winning percentage, and has led the Steelers to 12 playoff appearances. His postseason record of 8-11 has been the source of most criticism, but his overall career resume remains unquestionably impressive. Under Tomlin, the Steelers have appeared in 2 Super Bowls, winning 1, and have consistently fielded competitive teams despite dramatic roster turnover, franchise quarterback transitions, star player departures, and evolving league trends. Still, the current situation presents a crossroads unlike any Tomlin has faced before. The fan base is restless. Former players are openly questioning whether his message is still resonating. The team is firmly in the middle of the pack without a clear upward trajectory. The AFC has grown increasingly competitive, with teams like the Chiefs, Ravens, Texans, Dolphins, and Bills each constructing potent, modernized offenses. Pittsburgh, by contrast, has often seemed stuck in old habits, unable to adapt fast enough to keep pace. If Tomlin remains with the Steelers through 2026 and beyond, the franchise will need to undergo significant structural changes. They must modernize their offensive philosophy, stabilize their quarterback situation, and rethink their approach to player development. If Tomlin chooses to step away after 2025, Pittsburgh will face its most consequential decision in decades, one that could reshape the identity of the franchise for years to come. Either way, the remainder of the 2025 season and the months that follow will be critical in defining not only Tomlin's future but the future of the Steelers organization as a whole. Comment if you want Mike Tomlin to stay with the Steelers, or if you think it's time for a new head coach in Pittsburgh. Thanks for watching and see you soon.